I'm going to give you two quotes today, or two thoughts for the day. Maybe because it's thundering in the distance. One of our cats got all upset, and the others, they don't care. It's amazing. So fear is strange in how it affects all of us, including the animals. Why two quotes? Because I like them. To be loved, be lovable. That was Ovid, the ancient writer. To be loved, be lovable. And this one I like, actually, from the Earl of Chesterfield, who says, advice is seldom welcome, and those who want it most always like it the least. Advice is seldom welcome, and those who want it the most like it least. So, there you are. Somebody said something to the effect that advice is what we ask for, but we really don't want the answer. Something like that. Anyway, here is the reading for today, for Friday, the 7th of August, 2026. Fear and certainty with God. And you put your own spin on how you interpret God. Life is a daring adventure or nothing. And that was Helen Keller. She always amazes me how she can come up with all this stuff, knowing how much she had to overcome in life, and she did. Life is a daring adventure or nothing. And Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind on page 160. I'm changing it a little bit, not much. He says, we cannot be good students of the science of mind, and I would say, or any new thought or similar philosophy, if we are filled with fear and confusion. We must keep ourselves in a state of equilibrium, balance if you like, in a state of poise, peace, and confidence, in a state of spiritual understanding. The belief in goodness must be greater than any apparent manifestation of its opposite. So, stick to what it is that you really want. As I said, that was on page 160 of the Science of Mind textbook. And if you're not familiar with that and you're looking it up, you want the 1930s edition, not the 1920s edition. Not that there's anything wrong with the 20s edition, but 99.9% of the quotes come from the 1930s edition. And this is our writer this month, who says, let me have a look here. Hold on. Reverend Kelly Robbins says, the more we trust in the Creator and have certainty in its plan, or you can say his or her plan if you like, the less room there is for fear. Trusting in our higher power, especially in the face of uncertainty, is called faith. Faith calms us during the storm. Many people say they believe in God, but don't trust in God. They don't know with absolute certainty that all is well, especially when they're afraid. She says, as a hospital chaplain, I'm asked to pray with patients before surgery. People from all faith traditions share their fears or their absolute peace in the face of an unknown outcome. Some fearfully question the lives they lived. Others are at peace with a loving God. Their certainty in God becomes clear when they face the potential end of their lives. Faith is not just a switch that we flip. And faith is not simply our understandings of these teachings or similar teachings. Faith goes beyond reciting spiritual terminology. Yes, practice what you preach. Faith is an everyday experience and a deep inner understanding of truth. It's a constant expectation and a witness of universal law and its unwavering workings in our everyday lives. The experience of fear can reveal where we're lacking in faith. Fear offers us an opportunity to learn more about our beliefs about God, the universe, life, the all, and how life and the universe work. Before I came across this philosophy, I'd already been studying the mystics, as I mentioned on several occasions, and I had a different concept of God, quote unquote, than I had when I was a kid or a teenager or even a young adult, because the mystics showed me to look in a different direction completely. But the mystics also told me to trust in a loving essence that is in and through and as all things. And it taught me to start getting beyond my ego. You know, my wife has been listening to Wayne Dyer, the late, great Wayne Dyer, in her van as she drives along. She has a CD and she plays it quite often. And I remember watching Wayne Dyer, or listening to him and reading him from, I don't know at the earliest times, but I remember reading his first books and then seeing him in different scenarios. And when he first started off, he still had a pretty big ego. And I think he'd be the first to admit it. But one thing I noticed about Wayne Dyer, as the years progressed, his ego went down in the sense that he began to exercise more and more control over his ego. And I remember the first book I remember reading, I don't know if it's his first book, was Your Erroneous Zones, which got me thinking along these lines, which was pretty good actually. And then people like Bob Proctor reinforced that, and reading the mystics that enforced it even more, which was pretty good. So that's what I noticed. And I noticed that he did describe times in his life when he really had true faith, and fear went out the window and faith came in. I remember one time he said he was walking towards a group and they looked like not a very nice group of people, but he just focused on his higher power and he just walked through and nothing happened. And the fear went away, the faith came in, and he just walked through unscathed, untouched, unbothered, which always impressed me. But as I said, the thing that impressed me most was how he actually changed from being ego-centered and ego in control to ego being controlled. And I think these things fit together. Once your ego starts to move, it's much easier to actually have true faith because you don't have to justify anything to anybody, right? Today I declare and know my trust in the universe itself as my higher power. You can take that or leave it, you know, whatever you think. I have confidence in the goodness of spirit. That one I can fully endorse and think anybody of any faith could probably use that one. I have confidence in the goodness of spirit. And I declare and know my trust in a higher power as in a higher power. That's what I would say. Today I declare and know my trust in a higher power. That's how I would change that first one. But if they suit you as they are, fine, use them as they are. But I personally have confidence in the goodness and spirit. And I personally believe that love is the foundational energy of everything that exists. And that's my personal experience. That's what I believe. And my knowingness for each and every one who listened to this today is that they have faith to move through life with confidence, with knowledge, with knowingness, and with knowing that everything ultimately will work out for the good. And so it is. And I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for this ability to pray. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you. So until tomorrow, and my reverend friend Lisa Ryan at 9:15 tomorrow morning, namaste.